In this video, we are going to show you some of the rare photos of Courteney Cox, while also sharing little-known facts about her life story. Courteney Cox was never supposed to have anything to do with showbiz, but when she finally succumbed to the trade, she made some devastating mistakes that prevented her from reaching the heights she could have reached in the industry. What exactly happened? Let's find out while showing you some of her awesome photos. On June 15, 1964, in Birmingham, Alabama, Courteney Cox was born to Richard Lewis Cox and Courtney Bass. She has two older sisters, Virginia and Dorothy, and an older brother, Richard Jr. Her father was a successful businessman, and as such, their family was quite well-to-do. However, money was no substitute for true love, and her parents divorced in 1974 when Courtney was 10 years old. After splitting from Courtney's dad, her mum did not fall on hard times. She was so beautiful that she quickly found love again in another successful businessman, Hunter Copeland, and got married to him right away, leaving behind everything. There was one thing that her mother's second marriage brought to her. That was a connection to the music industry, as her stepfather Hunter was an uncle of business promoter and business manager Ian Copeland. But despite being around the music industry people during her formative years, Courtney's desire to go into showbiz or even be an actress didn't manifest immediately. Actually, after graduating from Mountain Brook High School, she enrolled at Mount Vernon College in Washington, D.C. to study architecture. It was at this inopportune moment that Courtney's yearning for showbiz reared its head. Rather than complete her architecture course, she dropped out to pursue her dreams of becoming a full-time model and actress. Most of Courtney's friends and family did not understand this move. Why would she abandon a respectable career such as architecture to frolic in the messy world of showbiz? Well, Courtney was determined to prove them wrong, and there was no changing her mind. Unfortunately, at the start, it seemed as though she had made a very big mistake. Although Courteney Cox was very beautiful, Hollywood didn't fling its doors wide open to accept her. Breaking in was quite tough, and to support herself during this period of her life, she accepted a job at the video game publisher Bethesda Softworks. This was in the early 80s when video games were still in their infancy. As such, Courtney's job, though a desk job, was not very dignified. Despite the early obstacles that had placed themselves in her path, Courtney still continued to work hard. In 1984, when she was 20 years old, Lady Luck finally decided to smile on her. That year, Brian De Palma, one of the most important directors of the new Hollywood era, was casting a love interest for the legendary Bruce Springsteen's music video. From a casting call out of hundreds of girls, Brian selected Courtney to be Bruce's love interest in the Dancing in the Dark video. The experience was quite magical for Courtney. It also gave her so much attention. Sure, this was a major breakthrough for her acting career, but the battle was far from won. Getting into Hollywood was the first step. Becoming a star was a whole other ballgame. Courtney's first starring role was in the NBC science fantasy series known as Misfits of Science in 1985. She played the character of Gloria Dano. Unfortunately, the series was not a major success. It was cancelled after only one season of 16 episodes. Courtney had never planned to be cast in Misfits of Science. It took a little bit of serendipity for that to happen. One day, she visited Universal Studios to audition for the action-adventure TV series Codename Foxfire. After getting cast for a measly 2 episodes, she observed that the studio was hosting auditions for Misfits of Science right next door. Eager for work, Courtney walked right in and tried to prove herself. To her surprise, she got the role. Sure, Misfits of Science was not the success she was hoping for, but from there, the only way was up. At least, that's what she thought. With the rug yanked right from underneath her feet, Courtney had to settle for minor supporting appearances in other TV shows. During this time, she appeared in the shows Love Boat and Murder, She Wrote. She also had a recurring role in Family Ties as the girlfriend of Michael J. Fox's character. Not the type of work she had dreamed of, but still better than no work at all. Late in the 80s and early in the 90s, Courtney also tried her luck with movies. She starred in the movies Masters of the Universe, Cocoon, The Return, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. She also landed the iconic role of Jewel Jagger, the toughest nails assistant of James Belushi's Larry Burrows in the movie Mr. Destiny. Bit by bit, Courtney's profile was increasing, but she had yet to find her big break. Luckily for her, her big break was on the horizon, but it would also come with all of its own baggage. In 1994, NBC was casting actors for its new sitcom known as Friends. The show would revolve around spoiled rich girl Rachel Green, who gives up a life of wealth and joins a new circle of working-class friends. Courtney's agent excitedly told her that the studio wanted her to audition for the starring role of Rachel. When she went for the audition, she did her very best and easily won the role. This was quite an exciting development for Courtney's career. She would finally be in a starring role again after several years in Hollywood. There was one little problem, though. Courtney was far from excited to play the rich, spoiled Rachel. To solve this issue, Courtney wanted to approach the producers and ask them if they wouldn't mind giving her the role of the down-to-earth Monica Geller instead. But she was hesitant, as she did not want to upset her castmate Jennifer Aniston, who was set to play the role of Monica. Well, as fate would have it, Jennifer was agonizing over the same decision, as she wanted to play the role of Rachel. It was an all's well that ends well situation for both of them. Looking back now, can you imagine a world in which Courtney played Rachel and Jennifer played Monica? Such a thing is so hard to picture, even though Courtney and Jennifer were so well suited to their roles. It's part of why Friends became such a huge success. Friends is undoubtedly one of the greatest shows of all time. It ran for 10 seasons and 236 episodes. During the height of its popularity, each member of the main cast earned $1 million per episode. This was the highest fee for any actor in TV history. During the show, the character of Monica was set up with Matthew Perry's Chandler Bing. However, off-screen, there was no romance between them. Instead, Courtney had her eyes set elsewhere. Her improved profile as an actress meant she had way better dating options than before. One of Courtney's most famous relationships was with actor Michael Keaton. Keaton is one of the most successful actors in Hollywood history and once played the role of Batman. They dated for 6 years but did not progress past that. When they finally split up in 1995, it took Courtney a while before she found her next fulfilling relationship. Courtney's most famous relationship was for sure with her Scream co-star David Arquette. Both of them were so crazy about each other that they started to mix both love and business. They got married in 1999 and gave birth to a daughter, Coco, 2 days before Courtney's 40th birthday. Courtney also happened to go into labor on the 5th anniversary of her wedding. Years later, they also started a movie production company together. The name of the company, Coet, was a portmanteau of their names. Years before David and Courtney got married, David actually appeared in an episode of Friends. In the episode titled The One with the Jam, he played a character called Malcolm, who stalked Phoebe. This was David and Courtney's first screen appearance together. Little did they know what life had in store for them. The story behind how the couple settled on the name Coco for their daughter is quite an interesting one. Given Courtney's southern roots, she wanted to name her daughter Courteney Cox as well. After all, her mother also carried the same name. However, since David Arquette was Jewish, he couldn't agree to Courtney's demands. This was an unexpected twist in Courtney's plans. See, in Jewish culture, it is forbidden to name a child after a living person. As a result, the two of them came to a compromise. When Courtney was young, her friends used to refer to her mother as Mama Coco. That's where the name Coco came from. The miracle of Coco's birth is not something that can be understated. After all, Courteney Cox has struggled with her fertility for most of her life. Before she had Coco, she had only suffered through 1 miscarriage. However, in the years since then, she has had a whopping number of 7 miscarriages. The physical and psychological toll of 1 miscarriage on a woman is enormous. How Courtney has endured 8 in total is a testament to her strength and resilience as a woman. Courteney was 6 months pregnant with Coco when the final episode of Friends was filmed. Perhaps she should have been resting, but her work ethic didn't allow her. Thankfully, the pregnancy proceeded without a hitch. After the birth of Coco, Courteney started to practice karate. Today, as Coco enters her 20s, Courteney can boast of a brown belt in the sport. One other thing, when Courteney got married, the cast and crew were so happy for her that the news kind of made its way into the show. In the opening credits of the episode titled The One After Vegas, each member of the cast has the name Arquette attached to their credit. The dedication of the episode also reads, "For Courteney and David, who did get married." This was a reference to the scene in the show in which Courteney's Monica and Matthew Perry's Chandler decide not to get married. On Courteney's wedding ring, the words, "A deal is a deal," were engraved. Too bad these words couldn't hold her marriage together forever. But hey, David and Courteney achieved a lot together, including having a baby and starting a production company together. Given Hollywood's usual standards, 14 years of marriage is not bad at all. Courteney's marriage to David was also what compelled her to give up smoking. By her own admission, she had been a heavy smoker since she was 13 years old. Outside of Friends, Courteney was also quite a successful actress. When the show took off, she found it easy to land more interesting roles. Some of her most iconic roles were in the hit comedy Ace Ventura alongside Jim Carrey and the horror franchise Scream alongside Neve Campbell. This aside, she also landed many other interesting roles across several other TV shows and movies. Courteney's character on Scream, Gale Weathers, is a huge fan favourite as well. However, just like with Monica Geller, or rather because of Monica Geller, she almost did not land the role. See, the producers of Scream did not believe Courteney could pull off a character like Gale Weathers. This belief was reinforced by Courteney's performance as Monica, who, in spite of being prim and proper, was quite nice overall. Courteney was not discouraged by this and continued to lobby for the role. In the end, she won the producers over, giving rise to one of the most iconic characters in pop culture. Post-Friends, Courteney landed on her feet quite well. Sure, the show was such a success that she never had to work again. At this stage, though, she was past working for money. As such, she decided to flex her chops as a producer and as a director. After her first directorial effort, directing a television drama, Courteney's featured directorial debut was for the black comedy movie Just Before I Go. Though she had a wonderful time overseeing the production, the movie was not a major success. Even so, this effort signaled to all of Hollywood that Courteney had yet more tricks up her sleeve. Though her career as an actress was winding down, she could easily have another successful career as a director. In fact, some people are happy that Courteney is making a pivot from working in front of the camera to working behind it. They say she was never that great of an actress, and that Monica's stiff personality allowed her to coast by on Friends. The people who believe this use the fact that Courteney is the one cast member of Friends who has never had an Emmy Award or Golden Globe nomination in their defense. What's worse, Courteney once received a Worst Supporting Actress nomination for her performance in 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Naturally, this criticism hasn't sat well with Courteney's biggest fans. Their response is that Monica is the blandest character in Friends by design, and as such, Courteney cannot do much with her. This makes a bit of sense, as data science has proven that Monica is the one Friends character with the least number of individual appearances. She's always there for the other more colourful characters to play off of her. Now, when it comes to Monica, no one can deny that she's stiff. But when it comes to Courteney, well, she has quite a fun side. Remember when we said that she appeared in Bruce Springsteen's music video for Dancing in the Dark? Well, her fellow TV star, Alfonso Ribeiro, has said that her dancing in the video inspired his now infamous Carlton dance. This is quite a big deal, as Alfonso tried to get the dance trademarked years later. Unfortunately, he failed, as the inspiration for the dance had been made quite clear by him. Now, the next time you see someone do the Carlton, remember that they're actually engaged in the Courteney. Funny, huh? The Dancing in the Dark video has legitimately been as huge a part of Courteney's life as Friends and Scream. After all, when she hosted Saturday Night Live in 1995, the show began with a reenactment of the video. This time, it was none other than Adam Sandler playing the part of Bruce Springsteen. You can bet yourself she hit the Courteney as well. In 2021, the cast of Friends reunited for a TV special. It was a successful episode that allowed the old friends to catch up 17 years after the show's ending. Unfortunately, this was the last time they would all be together. On October 28, 2003, Matthew Perry was found dead in the hot tub of his Los Angeles home. While hundreds of tributes poured in from across the world, Courteney, who was quite close to him, held her silence. It wasn't until much later, in November, that she finally spoke out. Courteney shared a picture of the two of them on Instagram, stating, "I am so grateful for every moment I had with you, Maddie, and I miss you every day." It was a short, sweet, but powerful tribute to one of her very best friends. A few of you may have been confused when we referred to Matthew as Courteney's screen husband, but just consider the fact that he proposed to her not just in Friends, but in Cougar Town as well. The two of them were genuinely quite close outside of work. Courteney Cox will soon be entering her 60s. However, her career in Hollywood is far from over. Though she continues to demonstrate her talent in acting, she's also proven she's a capable producer and director. Besides, she has the freedom to take her career in a whole new direction. Let's just say, we won't be surprised if she suddenly begins to design buildings. While Courteney has not started working as an architect yet, she does work within the real estate industry. See, rather than blowing all her money on useless purchases, she's quite fond of buying houses. After buying a house, though, Courteney doesn't just let it sit and gather dust. Rather, she renovates it to improve its market value. After that, she sells the house for quite a hefty profit. Not a bad way of staying wealthy, is it? While Courteney sure has a number of luxuries for herself, she's also used her star power to raise money for many charitable causes. For one, she participated in the third Munchkins Project Pink annual breast cancer awareness campaign to raise money for breast cancer research. She has also worked with a number of charities that seek to address AIDS, world hunger, heart disease, and global peace. She has also encouraged her fellow stars to do the same with their money. Sure, Courteney Cox will always have her critics. However, smart business moves like this are what continue to keep her relevant. Whatever people say about her, no one can deny that she's an icon of the showbiz industry. Besides, she already has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and while Monica may be bland, Courteney for sure isn't. On top of every single one of her talents we have discussed so far, she's also quite adept at playing both the piano and the drums. So hey, if her career as a producer and a director doesn't quite pan out, never forget that she has backups upon backups. This has been the story of Courteney Cox. Wouldn't you agree she's quite a remarkable woman? If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click enjoy and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.